Engineer Boy 100. Today I'm going to do a 3-part video and my second video on the X3M Competition. Today's video is going to consist of an oil change, how to reset the oil light. We will be doing a review of the Eastwood ramps. And at the end, whether or not the Eastwood ramps can be used to raise the rear and the front of a lowered 996 turbo. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that X3M up on the ramps and ready for the oil change. Now we're going to roll it up on the ramps and drain the oil. Notice there's plenty of clearance from the ramp to the bumper. Even though the ramps have excellent wheel captures, never get under the car without putting wheel chocks on the rear tires. Now, let's drain the oil. To open the hood, we pull the lever twice, once and twice. Then we open the hood. To gain access to the oil filter, it's a lot easier if you remove this one vacuum line that's in the way. To remove it, you simply depress these tabs on either side. There's one on this side and one on the other side. You have to depress both of those tabs and then just pull straight off on both sides to remove this vacuum line. That will give you better access to the oil filter. Once you've released the tabs, simply remove the hose. Now you have better access to the oil filter. This is where the oil filter is. This is what it looks like, and that is the top of the 32mm nut that you have to use the socket to get off. That is the oil filter right there. Once you have the oil filter housing loose, you just take out the oil filter with the housing, and because it's cool and the vehicle has been sitting, you'll notice a minimal amount of oil on the filter. Okay, so once you get the oil filter out and you have the housing on the bench, you want to remember to change the O-ring. The black O-ring is located right here. You take it off, get yourself a little pick, take off the old one, and put on the new one. You can take it off before or after you remove the filter. It doesn't really matter. Here's the O-ring. The filter just snaps out. Just pull on it. Give it a nice top. It might be a little bit stuck. Pull it. It snaps out. The new one, center it, snaps in, okay? And then you take your new O-ring, a little smear of oil from the old, and put that on the housing, like so. And you're ready to install your new oil filter. It looks like. And this is what the housing looks like. This is your 32mm nut. One more detail when installing the new filter. This portion needs to go into a hole that's down inside the housing. So when you put the guide, the one at the top, in here, you're going to need to be able to turn this to get this into the hole. Okay, you'll have to feel it, do it by feel. So don't put the housing on first. Put the filter in by itself. Then once it's in, then you put the housing on. Otherwise, you won't be able to turn it because the housing spins freely on top of this filter. So you put the filter in first, then the housing. When you go to put your oil filter back in, there's a spout that this part of the filter lines up with, and it sticks up above the other pieces. It's also spring-loaded. I'll try to show that to you now. So you make sure to line this up in that hole first before you push the filter on down to screw it in to the threads. Okay, so once the filter is reinstalled, new filter's installed, don't forget to put your vacuum hose back on. Now it can go either way, but the correct way is with these two little grommets towards the front of the car, and there's a little icon on the hose of an engine right here. Okay, that goes on the engine side towards the car. That's the correct way. These just push on. That's all you do. So you just put them on like this, both sides. Push the inside, put it on, and it snaps. And then the outside, put it on and push down, and it snaps. And now you're ready to start the car to warm up the oil to drain it. Okay, so we've got the oil filter in, and we're getting ready to drain the oil. So we're going to run the engine for 5 minutes to warm up the oil so it drains faster. And then we're going to drain the oil and replace the drain plug, which does not have a magnet on it currently, with this from ECS. This has a magnet on it to catch any kind of metal that might be floating around and circulating in the oil that could damage the engine, and that will give us an opportunity to either fix the engine or at least know that something's going on. Now we're just going to start it for 5 minutes to warm up the oil. We're going to get a drain pan and recycle containers, and we're going to open up the hood and take off the oil cap so that when we drain the oil, it can vent and drain more quickly. Now we're going to drain the oil. To access the oil drain plug, simply rotate this cap and remove it. Okay. Then the bolt is 17mm. So we're going to take off this 17 millimeter like the oil drain and replace it with the new 17 millimeter. Yeah. Once you're done draining the oil, don't forget to put in the new oil. I usually put in 6 quarts. Warm the engine, check the level, and then top it off as indicated. Once we're done, we'll show you how to reset the oil indicator. Once you've installed all the oil, don't forget to reinstall your oil filler cap. There's a technique to that to make it easy. I'll show you. Align the cap at about 35 or 40 degrees. Let it slide down so that it's flush. Once it's flush, turn it clockwise until it snaps into place. Once you've put all the oil in, check the oil level to make sure you don't need to add any. Your level is okay, and you can see that it's full. Once you're done with the oil change, you can reset your oil light indicator. Start by pressing the engine start button 3 times quickly in succession. That will activate your menus. If you have any messages, you can clear those by pressing the button on your stock, right there. If not, proceed to the button on the left-hand side of the instrument panel, press it down and hold it to activate the reset. Okay, once it activates, this just happens to be on oil. You can reset several different, there's the menu of different items you can scroll through. Just tap on the button to see them, like so. Vehicle, brakes, engine oil. So engine oil is the one that we want this time. So we're gonna just hold that button again for a reset. And then we'll let go. And we'll hold it again to actually engage the reset. Okay, so now it'll default back to your main menu, and your oil indicator light has been reset. Once you've finished changing the oil, back off of your amps and drive for another 5,000 miles. Okay, now that we're done with the oil change, we give a quick review of these awesome Eastwood ramps. Okay, their total length is 52.5 inches from here to here, here to here, and the height where the wheels rest is 6.5 inches from here to here, and the ramp with the, I think it's a 6-degree incline. The length of the ramp itself is 36 inches from here to here. Another really good feature of the Eastwood ramps is they come apart, so you have room to work. Would otherwise be really cool. Now let's take a look and see if they can fit underneath the Porsche. Spoiler alert, we already tried it on the front, and the front bumper is in the way and you can't do it. So let's see if we can do it in the back. Here's a quick peek at the clearance before we roll up onto the ramp.